Now look right, a little side and less up. That's good. Blink a few times.
Welcome to High Strangeness, where we ask questions and explore all that is strange and unexpected in our reality.
All right, we are here, High Strangeness Podcast, and we're going to talk about something pretty interesting right in the middle of the summer. We live in a world where there's a lot of things just naturally strange that we don't even imagine. We don't even think about it sometimes until we run across it. Everything from strange life forms to landscapes that you see when you're out and about to just the dangers that people can find themselves in accidentally during the summer that we wouldn't have planned or thought of before. Now, with people being outdoors so much and with little concern for what's unexpected, we're going to get into that. We're going to play with that a little bit in our conversation here, the three of us. And I think it'll be a fun one. But I wanted to ask you guys, first of all, do you think today we're seeing more people get sick with infections and diseases than ever before? Or do you think it's better than it's been in the past?
I don't know. I mean, Ron, you want to go first, or?
Go ahead.
I really haven't noticed an increase. Some of the things that I've read, that parasites within the United States are less rare than in poorer countries, like the richer countries seem to not have such an epidemic of parasites, such as Africa is really bad. But I'm sure they're out there, but I think they're so low-key that we just don't hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, we are USA-centric. We think about USA, really not a whole lot about anybody else because, hey, we're the important ones. That's what it feels like, right? That's what the media kind of portrays and stuff like that. But Ron, what are your thoughts? I mean, with science, healthcare supposed to be better than ever, what do you think?
I think Bill's kind of right on this. In America, our healthcare system, our FDA, there's so many regulations and guidelines that kind of help minimize some of the things we see in some of these other countries that they don't have that. So they're kind of at the whim of going to a bazaar and have a big old slab of meat hanging there and flies buzzing on it. They take it home. I don't know, maybe some places they don't have proper refrigeration, or the heating at the right, cooking it at the right temperature. Who knows? They might get it and they might already have a parasite in it, which we're capable of. I think most people, we eat food all the time that have some form of parasite in it. But our systems usually just kill it when it enters into our stomach, and it's digested. It's usually digested and killed within our stomach acids, and so we don't see a lot of that here. Yeah,
I agree. And I'm going to ask you guys this question here because I'm curious. With global warming right now, it doesn't matter how that's happening. I personally think global warming is a natural cycle of heating and cooling that happens throughout the history of the world. But with global warming and the permafrost and ice melting around the world, for sure we're going to be seeing things in soil that we haven't seen for thousands of years coming out, microbes and things like that. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it's possible. I think as time goes by, and like the world's getting crazier, and I don't want to bring faith into this or whatnot, but I think we're going to start seeing perhaps creatures underneath the oceans and lakes that we haven't seen before, or we thought were extinct for years, millions of years maybe, that could create such an epidemic with parasites.
Yeah, could be.
Like a rare fish or something like that. And I'll get into that when I talk about the movie The Bay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ron, what's your thoughts on that? Because, we do know that there's the ice caps, everything is starting to go down. And if you go certain parts of even Idaho and Montana, where they used to be covered with ice, there's more, there's more ground being, you could see more ground now.
Well, I think that makes sense because when they discovered a lot of the Egyptian, kings buried, and they opened up these sarcophaguses, they called it a curse, but I think it was just a matter of opening something that's been sealed for so long, and the bacteria or microbes or whatever was in there, and the people got sick and died when they breathed these in. So I think, yeah, if something buried underneath ice caps, under the ground, um, in the right environment, released it, and if somebody's there to breathe it in, it could cause a lot of health problems for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask you guys when, first of all, we all know we're full of parasites, right? What do you guys think is the number of parasites that are in each of our bodies? Just curious.
Do you have a guess? I don't know if
I
I
do know.
want to guess. I don't want. Do I want to know?
You don't want to know. I just wanted to see if you guys just wanted to take a ballpark guess.
I think 30,000.
30,000. You know, Tony, I never know what I'm going to get into when I come on your show. It's always going to be something strange and unusual in our reality. You've never failed.
So what do you think? He said 30,000.
I would have never thought in the thousands. Huh, I hope it's not thousands. Can I bid $1?
Yeah.
You know?
Right is right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, 10,000.
Okay, I'm going to give you the information, and it's interesting because I don't think many people know about that. First of all, how many cells do you think we have in our human body? Any guess? I'm going to start there.
Oh gosh, no, it's beyond my
A lot,
education.
right?
Yeah.
Tons. Okay, here's the number. 30 trillion. 30 trillion cells in the human body. Now, it's estimated that we have 38 to 39 trillion microbes living in our body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who counted those?
I know, right? Let's hope they're wrong, but that's what science says is the number of microbes. It outnumbers the cells of our body. And that's what we have living. So starting that, that's what we're going to start with this conversation, because we think of microbes, parasites being gross. But in reality, it's so important just for our existence. We wouldn't be able to digest food without tons of microbes sitting in our digestive tract. Whenever you get very gassy and stuff like that, it's from the microbes breaking down the food. That's what creates the gas in our gut that gives people the farts. You know what I mean?
So I can tell my wife it's the microbes' fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Oh man. Okay. I just thought that was a neat bit of information, right?
Yeah.
Bill,
That's
you were
cool.
going to say something?
I got no comment on the farts. On the gas.
I don't fart.
That's right. Yeah, I just knew who I'm going to blame it on next time. That's all.
Yeah,
Right?
microbes.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Well,
right.
okay. So that's just a little bit to set the stage here, because parasites are necessary. They happen. They're part of everything. But they are freaky. Like when you think of a parasite, what do you think? Because I'm kind of grossed out by it, to be honest with you. When I think about it, you have to almost realize the reality of what's going on in our bodies. But do you guys ever think about parasites and does it kind of give you the heebie-skeevies and that kind of thing?
Good run.
Well, I wouldn't want a tapeworm. You've heard how long do they get? 20, 30 feet, 60 feet? I'm not sure, but something that can get in there and wrap itself around your intestines and then absorb every nutrient that you put into your body, and you slowly die. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is, for sure. Bill, what were you going to say? Were you going to say anything?
Yeah, I know a little bit about parasites, but I didn't realize how fast they can grow and how fast they can move from host to host, and how fast it can claim the body, to kill you or damage the body beyond anything that you would wish you would rather die than have the body look like what you would look like if you didn't die.
Yeah, I agree. Quick bit of information that I forgot to mention about the microbes in our body. 2 to 5 pounds of our body weight is microbes, by the way, just so you know. That's crazy. Okay, well, let's get into this. We're going to start off, everybody, by talking a little bit about some of the interesting parasitic movies that have been out there in time. We're going to have fun with this conversation. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about some real stuff too. So let's kick this off right off the bat by talking about what has Hollywood done to really freak us out about the concept of just parasites that could happen to us. And so maybe, Bill, why don't you start us off with one of the things you watched?
Okay, before we go on, a lot of times I'm going to have to read my notes and so forth.
Yeah.
But on the movie, I'm just going to straight out tell you. So, a lot of the movies that are out there right now are kind of, far-fetched stuff like, Star Trek, Spock, one. The movie The Bay from 2009 or something like that, or 2012, whatever it was made to look realistic. It was made to look like home video and news reports. So it would be like breaking news. It would be a news anchor and a lot of home video, kind of like the old Blair Witch Project type movie. So in this movie, wigged me out, man. I kept texting Tony like, "You gotta watch this movie, man. You got." Allie left the room; she couldn't handle it. This movie was just too much. So what happens is it's a 4th of July weekend, okay, and it's in Maryland, Chesapeake Bay, and there's a chicken factory that releases the chicken poop into the bay. Now in the movie, it's 45 million pounds of chicken waste into the water, so that the parasites are in the water. And Chesapeake Bay, if you've never been there, it's very recreational. There's boating and swimming and jet skiing and rafting and all that stuff. So a couple people had died here and there in this movie. Now it comes to a point where it's the 4th of July weekend, and in the movie 2009, and the whole town was getting infected. And how they got infected, it was this parasite just went nuts. One person got it. They closed the island down. The military came in. People were dead in the streets. 800 people dead, and it was in the fish. And they would put the microscope into the fish, and you could see what these looked like. And it was just downright scary, man. And then people were dropping like flies within 20 minutes. Those who didn't die probably wish they had died. It would leave blisters all over their face because the parasites in them were trying to get out. Every means necessary, eye, nose, whatever. They couldn't find a way out. They would just bust through the skin. Right? No, this movie really was weird. It was. I don't get too disturbed by movies too much. I usually just kind of like, well, that was weird. This one made me scared to drink water, go near water. And then it was just awful. Then people were actually claiming their lives. They were shooting themselves in this movie because they would rather go out like that. And then in the movie, Homeland Security knew about it, and they evacuated the hospital. They totally, all the nursing staff, the hospitals, they all left patients just to die because it was spreading like wildfire. Because,
crazy.
Yeah, and then people were claiming you have to watch this movie. It's on Prime, I think, for like $2, but it's on Tubi, Tubi, for free.
Tubi, yeah.
Tubi for free. It's It's just a really strange movie, and it just blew my mind on how fast it kind of like piranha. You know how piranhas act, right? They come in groups and they just shred the body, right? That's what some of these parasites were doing, and some of them were like the size of the worm, and some of them were size of like a mouse.
Oh, big.
Man,
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So in one episode, the guy caught a fish and it ran up his arm and went right up into him, and everybody was freaking out. It's a really weird movie, but the death toll was high. The amount of time it took to die was rapid. Now I don't know if that's true because this is Hollywood, on how fast it takes to die. I mean, in the movie, hospitals didn't even have a chance. The CDC told them they were on their own. They said to the doctors, you know, if I were you, I would leave.
Yeah.
You know, and then the Homeland Security told the one doctor, you know, well, it's a small town. It's not that big of a deal. And the guy goes, what the, you know, what are you talking about? 700 people, we're already dead. And there was just bodies in the middle of the street. They were just walking and just dropping. You know, it's really good because it was, like I said, a lot of home videos, you know, that kind. They made it look real. They made it look real. Made it look like they gathered all these home videos, news footages. It just presented it in a way where they made it as scary as possible.
Yeah, that filming type is they when you see them come out in some of the movies that they use it, they do it well, and they really make you feel like you're watching people's home cameras, you know, walking around town and stuff. Bill, when you told me about The Bay yesterday, I tried to watch it while I was working on something else. I had it on my TV up here, and it was crazy. And one of the things that I noticed on the movie, I don't know if you remember this, but they had a picture of a fish where they had a parasite which had eaten out its tongue and it was sitting in its mouth. Do you know that's a real picture? There is a real parasite that does that to fish.
Yeah.
And they used that picture. That was crazy.
Yeah, and in the movie, people were actually losing their tongue also.
Yeah.
Because it was just, man, parasites are just,
they're freaky.
forget about it.
Was there a cure in this movie for these parasites?
Not in this movie, there wasn't.
Okay.
I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but I mean, there was nobody left. I mean, a couple people. I was it. I mean, it was just,
Yeah.
you know.
There was something at the very end that they mentioned that they did to deal with it.
Yeah, how they cleaned up the bay and everything like that. But I'm not going to be a spoiler alert. I want people to watch it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, sounds good.
You're right, Tony. That type of filming, the Blair Witch Project was terrifying.
Yeah.
The idea, I mean, the whole, you know, the first person view of what's going on in the tent when that thing came out and he started shaking the tent, you know, batting on the end, and the sound of the kids laughing outside the tent. That type of filming, that was a genius that came up with the Blair Witch Project, you know, to change the way they could scare the living hell out of you.
Yeah, I mean, because you can hear the person taping their voice, their heavy breathing. And in the case with the movie The Bay, you could hear the comments of themselves and others saying, "What the heck's going on? What's up here?" It is an interesting way to shoot a movie, and I thought it was pretty effective. You're right, Bill. It was pretty effective.
It was really effective. And we're seeing more and more movies from Hollywood filmed like this, too. Like, not Parasite related, but on Netflix, there's House of Dynamite. That one wigged me out, too. But this movie, The Bay, is probably the most... It's the movie that wigged me out the most. That had me like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah. We don't need them. Parasites, we don't need them. Thank you for sharing that. Ron, go ahead. What's the one you were thinking of? And I know it's a well-known one, but it's interesting.
Well, there's two of them, and they had the same kind of concept, an alien, form, a life form. I'm going to go with Alien. There was also, what was the one with the pods? You remember the one with the pods that you go to sleep and they replicate you and they replace you when you go to sleep.
Was that
You,
Snatchers? Body Snatchers?
yeah,
Body
Invasion of the Body
Snatchers.
Snatchers. Yeah, that was pretty creepy too. But Alien for me, just being in space alone is terrifying. Anything can go wrong, and if it goes wrong, is pretty much that's just it. But the thought of an alien life form that could wrap itself around your face of somebody, put them in a coma, and then actually put their fetus or whatever inside you and grow inside you, and then it releases you, and then you can wake up and you can go back to appear to be living a normal life, and then suddenly it just bursts through your chest cavity and you're dead, and this thing goes on to kill anything it comes in contact with. Terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah, and just
It,
the
it
whole
was
space thing. Yeah,
it was a movie back in, what was it, the 70s when it first came out, if I
70s
remember
or
correctly?
early
Yeah,
70s, I think.
yeah, like late 70s, early 80s, like maybe 79, 80.
Well, and this thing was born lethal. It was lethal the moment it came out, and it
Yeah.
grew so fast, and just you, you couldn't see it until it was too late. By the time you saw it, it was too late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
terrifying.
it did a good job with two things that I think are that freak me out anyway. I don't like octopus. Can you just the whole
Yes.
concept of it sticking to your face, and then it also reminded me uh, of horseshoe crabs, which are as nasty as they can be. Also with the underside, the way they have their legs and stuff moving and their mouth in the middle. Ugh. Yeah. It
Yeah.
did all that, and then it deposited a little parasite in your stomach. It was well done. The movie was well done, and to this day, I think people look back at that as one of the most freaky, iconic, parasitic type movies there ever was.
Well,
Yeah.
you think
Go
about
ahead.
when it was made in the late 70s, early 80s, no more than 80, 81. I think it was 79, 80. But so even back in, 3 decades ago, 4 decades ago, that was pretty advanced thinking compared to, you just
Yeah.
didn't see those kind of movies back then.
You didn't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it stuck out to me. I mean, it's the whole alien thing. Yeah, just the darkness of space. The whole movie was in darkness and on a spaceship
Yeah. Yeah. It was
going to
great.
this remote. I don't even remember. It's been so many years since I've seen it. Why they were there? I don't know if they were on a mining mission. They were rescuing some colleagues. I can't remember what they were there for. And then they see these pods, and then I don't. Didn't one of the guys take one of them? Or no, it latched onto him right there. That's right. He
Yeah.
looked in there and got him, and they had to drag him on board, and should have left him.
It was nasty. There's no doubt about it. Well, look, the one I'm going to talk about briefly is something that came out in 2006, and it's called Slither. Have you guys seen the movie Slither?
Yes, remind me. Yes.
It's nasty. Okay, so it is also a meteor that comes in, lands in this town, and it has one of the early scenes in the movie is a guy goes out with a girl he's messing around with out in the woods, and he sees this really gelatinous kind of bubbly. It looked like a jellyfish, but thicker, fuller, sitting there, and it looked like it had that snail's. You know how a snail leaves that residue when it moves? It had that, and it was like this big thing. It was bigger than a football, just sitting there pulsating. He goes up and he like starts picking at it with a stick. Hello, don't do that. And it shot out something at him, went right into his chest. And he was like, what's going on? Like he felt it, he could see the hole, but he just kind of didn't do anything with it. And it just started transforming him into this slithering thing that was crazy. And he was just, going around eating animals and doing all these different things. And then he would infect other people, and they would become almost like zombies in a sense too. And it was nasty. It was a very visual movie. Lots of nasty stuff. There was a lot. It was very gory. There were a couple times one of the main actors, in order to save her life, had a shotgun and blew somebody's head off, and they showed it all. And it was it was a crazy movie. And in the end, two of the main characters who were infested with this became so huge and had all these tentacles and things growing out of them. It was crazy. Anyway, it was a little over the top, but just the concept itself, which is one of those other things where it deposited its stuff inside of you, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, you had these weird tentacles coming out of your body. It was crazy. It was definitely crazy.
Yeah. There was another movie. You remember The Thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
That was nasty.
that was nasty. And then talking about what you were talking about earlier, digging up something from the frozen tundra, they dug that up from a frozen. They somehow stumbled across it, right? And it warmed up and it came out and it. Well, we know the rest of the movie, and it could replicate whatever it wanted to replicate.
Yes, that was freaky.
Yeah.
Biggest fascinated me a little bit was like a parasite could be, like Ron was saying earlier, a tapeworm could be as 10, 12, 15 feet, right? But they could also be as little as just a few centimeters.
Yeah.
And size doesn't matter on those. Just that, even the little ones as dangerous as that massive one.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I think. Bill, I'm gonna mute you when the dogs are barking. That's all. And then when you're talking, I'll turn it back on. So, anyway, yeah. So I think it's crazy to me just to see all of the things that Hollywood has done to really freak us out. But now let's get into a couple of these real things that are in our reality that are pretty freaky, pretty nasty. And so let's start with you, Ron. Want to tell us about the first one that you were looking at?
Yeah, there's a thing called Toxoplasma gondii, um, and it's a single-celled protozoan parasite that infects humans and many warm-blooded animals. It forms lifelong tissue cysts, often in the brain
Mm.
and muscles. So it can pass, it looks like. They say you can, I'm reading here my notes. It says how you can get it is primarily by eating undercooked or contaminated meat like pork or lamb, etc. So they always say, make sure you know the temperature of your meat. Make sure
That's
you
true.
don't undercook your chicken. And a lot of people say don't eat raw red meat. And it could be, don't know where it's been. What that red meat animal was eating, what was their diet.
Yeah.
So unwashed produce or shellfish, or thorough contact with cat feces. I have two cats, so I make sure I wash my hands every time I change the litter box.
Right.
Or soil containing, um, I don't know, how do you pronounce this? Oocysts, double O cysts. So that right there, everybody's gotten a hamburger at a restaurant somewhere. We don't know how thoroughly they, clean their produce, wash that lettuce. Could have been in a hurry. Could have just took it out of the box and they're behind and they're just throwing it on burgers. We don't know. I've gotten sick, like botulism or food poisoning, not very deathly ill, but from eating a hamburger at a certain place. I won't name the place. I'm not trying to put anybody out of business or anything, but it's been a while. So I think that's very possible that can happen. It probably happens on a daily basis, in a large number.
I agree. What sort of overall impact did they talk about for that? Was it just really getting sick like that, or was there anything else that they mentioned?
Well, they say usually healthy people are not usually affected by this. It can be serious or life-threatening in immunocompromised individuals, causing brain inflammation or cause birth defects,
Yeah.
miscarriage if acquired during pregnancy. So there can be some pretty catastrophic, um, results from catching this. But apparently, healthy people just kind of just digest it.
Yeah.
Maybe have some very minor
Well,
symptoms.
you make a good point, because when I was going through cancer treatment, my immunities were pretty bad. And I was told by my doctors, what not to eat out. They said, when you go out to eat somewhere, you must see it being cooked thoroughly in front of you. Do not, be very careful about what you eat. It was probably for this very thing.
Yeah. They say there's no cure, no complete cure.
Yeah.
Cysts can persist lifelong, and anti-parasitic drugs like primethamine and I'm not going to even try. Folinic acid manage active infections or prevent complications in high-risk cases. So no complete cure. So you're going to get some cysts that look like that you're going to be stuck with the rest of your life.
Nasty. Yeah.
And there's one more thing about this, and then you can say whatever you want. But movies it has movies that are inspired by this, possibly. No direct movies, but inspires like mind control, parasite tropes, behavioral manipulation themes similar to the Puppet Masters, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, what we were talking about earlier, or zombie-like movies.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got for the notes on that.
Any thoughts on that, Bill?
No, I'm huge on. My wife makes chicken and steak, red meat for me all the time, and we have two thermometers, and I'm always double checking it, and she's like, I know how to do it, and I'm like, all right, because I'm just very OCD about
it's a serious thing.
Yeah, I'm like chicken 160, whatever, I'm just I just don't want to get sick because it's that easy. But also again, we're living in the United States, restaurants have standards on how to cook food, regulations, food handlers permit. You've got to have that certified every 2 years. You have to take a test, so that makes me feel good. But I'll be honest, we live in a generation now where people are lazy or just stupid, and they'll pass the test and they just won't do their job well.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's scary because I used to, my wife went out for dinner last night, and I'm eating my meal and I'm telling her, I'm like, I just don't enjoy eating out as much anymore. I'd rather just eat at home where I know, first of all, it tastes better, and I go, it's just safer. Because I don't trust someone cooking my food anymore that I don't know.
I mean, it is true. You do see less. There's a lot of young people working in some of these restaurants, and usually when there's no adults there, you'll see that now and then because of the cost of paying people, right? When I see that, I'm less likely to eat there because they're usually goofing off, and that's not a good thing.
And I don't know if it's just ignorance, stupidity, degeneration. I think it's a little bit of both. I think we're probably in the stupidest generation ever.
Yeah.
Debatable,
I wish I could.
sure.
I wish I could disagree. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's a key. Anybody who's been sick from eating out, and it sounds like we all know what that is, it's you don't want to go back to that. You definitely try to avoid that at every possibility that you can. Yeah, so that's a big one. That's one to be concerned with. Bill, what did you have? I know you have one as well.
Yeah, I have. I'm gonna have to read them. I put my glasses on. So I had a tapeworm. It's also flatworm. Okay, and the flatworm, they live in the intestines of animals and humans. They are absorbed through their skin, so that's kind of scary. I mean, not how you get through the skin.
Yeah,
you would have to notice that. That's just interesting. They don't have a mouth or a digestive system. Okay, they have a head that attaches to the intestines wall along the body that grows very long, as Ron was saying. Up to 20 feet, 15 feet. And then segments can break off and go into your poop.
Asian gentleman, and he comes in. I said, what brings you in here today? And he says, I want to get treated for worms. And I said, okay, well, just, tell me why you want to get treated for worms. And he said, well, I was having some abdominal cramping, and I was having some diarrhea, and I went to the bathroom, and I had some bloody diarrhea. And so, I was a little concerned, but then after I had a bout of bloody diarrhea, I saw a little piece of what I thought was my intestine hanging out. And I said, out your bottom? And he said, yeah. So I said, what did you do? So I reached down and I grabbed it and I started to just pull it out to see if it's a little piece or a big piece. But a big long string kind of came out, and he pulls it out from his bottom, and it keeps coming and coming. And he's like, oh my goodness. And he thinks he's got this really long piece of bowel that's like just basically falling off of him. Like pieces are just falling out of him. But then when he pulls it out, it starts wriggling in his hand. It starts moving. He's like, oh my God. Then he knew it was a worm, and he just like sort of dropped it. He doesn't know what to do with it. He takes a toilet paper roll, and he takes the end of the worm and rolls it around and pulls it out, and just keeps pulling and pulling. It just keeps coming and coming until finally he comes to an end, and he's got this giant rolled up worm around the toilet paper roll. And so he just sort of rinses it off a little bit just because he's scared because there's bloody poop on it and everything, and he puts it in a bag and he comes in, and that's basically when I see him. So I said, is that the worm you have with you? And he's like, yeah. So you want to see it? And I was like, well, of course. So I open it up, and it's very obvious a tapeworm.
And they can be eaten by something. That tapeworm moves to a new host. So even if they got into an animal or something like a dog or whatever, and something comes along, if something really, like I'm not eating my poop, but a dog or whatever, something comes along, now that is now connected to another host. So they can go from host to host pretty easy. And signs can be seen. You can see the long stems if you're having a valve movement. If you see like long stems in there, that's probably not a good thing. Itching around ground zero.
Ground zero.
My wife asked me what word do you want to use. You want to use anal or butthole? And,
Yeah.
And I said anal, but I just came up with ground zero.
I like it
ground
better,
zero.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then itching and rapid, unexplained weight loss. A treatment is deworming. Medication is available. And my wife kind of helped me with this. She says, "Do not eat poop."
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. You're in a bad place if you're doing that.
Yeah, and another signs would be feeling something that just isn't right, but and it spreads. You get one in there, it spreads you like wildfire. And again, in the U.S., it's less common. In Africa, it's very common. I remember when I was a kid or something like that, my parents telling me something. I heard a thing about a tapeworm, but we were kids, we didn't know, like why you lose your appetite or something. Why you never hungry? Why didn't you keep food down? Why you this or that? And you might have a tapeworm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're thinking a worm is like a worm. You're a kid. You don't. But if you have something moving around inside you, you're going to know it. If it's 10, 15, 20 feet, you better know it.
You would
Yeah,
think so.
I'd be going to the hospital so fast. I'd be like, just give me a C-section, man. Do whatever you got to do to get this thing out of here.
Take out your ovaries, huh?
Get it out of here, man. Jaw, whatever it takes, man. I'm good.
Yeah, that's one parasite that definitely takes up more space than we're willing to give it. That's for sure.
Man.
Now, do you know if all these parasites are able to jump from host to host? Is that something? Is that like the nature of a parasite in general, or is that just certain parasites? I wonder.
I mean, go ahead.
Good. Well, from what I've read, and Tony can correct me or agree, from information that I gathered, it seems like most of them can jump from host to host, depending on the type of parasite it is, and like if it's in the bay and it gets into a fish and you're in there, and then you go to someone and they, in this movie you'll see they do different things. They vomit, gets on you, or they puke on you, or blood, whatever. I think it's relatively easy because it could be transferred. What's the one that is attracted to urine?
That's what I'm going to talk about next.
Now that. I think I'd rather have the 20-foot tapeworm than this one.
I mean, that's a perfect segue, Bill. I'll get into it now. Actually, that's a really good one, and that's what I wanted to talk about. It's called the Kandiru fish. Now, this is an interesting fish found in the Amazon. It's a parasitic catfish, not very big, very small actually, and it's attracted to urea or urine, and it wherever it goes. I mean, if it smells it and it senses it, it goes right to it. So if you're swimming in the Amazon somewhere, where do you think it's going to go? Yes, that's it. Now, this goes to Bill's point. I'd rather have the tapeworm than have one of those swim up your urethra and have it go up there. Now, here's the worst part about it. It's not only that it goes up there, but these little fish have rear-facing spikes. So once it goes in, you can't pull it out. So they're stuck inside of your penis. They're stuck inside. So how do they have to get those out? They have to open you up and pull them out. Okay. And for every guy right now, I know what you're doing. He was hearing this. You're going, oh God, please no.
Kandiru.
Yeah. So you should explain what it is. It swims up your hole.
So it's this tiny parasitic catfish in the Amazon, and what it does is it's attracted to urea, which comes out of fish's gills, and it's a parasite, so it swims into fish's gills and lodges its spines into those fish's gills to feed. But this nasty little bugger, because it's attracted to urea, will swim up your urethra. Now that's all fine and well, if you will, but it has reverse-facing spines. So once it swims in, there's no swimming back out. The same spines it uses to lodge into fish gills. But once it's lodged in, the only way to get it out is to butterfly and lift it out.
Oh God!
I saw a movie a while ago, before we even knew we were going to do the segment, where a guy was going out on a boat, and man, I wish I knew the movie. And the guy said, "Don't pee in a lake." And he blah blah blah. They thought it was funny, blah blah. And he stood on the boat and he over the boat. Well, then one of the fish, and he's yelling, screaming, "Get it off! Get it off!" And it's attached to like a binky,
Yeah.
And my metaphors are unique, Ron. Yeah. And I wish I could think of this movie, man, because I was laughing my butt off until I found out that it's real.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
You know what movie you're talking about?
I've seen that movie. I know exactly.
I just saw it like a month ago, and I can't remember the name of it.
It's an older movie. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that this could be true that they can jump out of the water. I've never read that, but it doesn't matter, man. However they get there. It is terrifying, which reminds me of something. Have you guys ever seen, I'm going to divert for a second. Have you guys ever seen the show The Boys?
Boys?
It's on Amazon
I haven't.
Prime.
I haven't.
Okay. It's the most nasty graphic movie or show ever. It's about superheroes, and they're really clumsy and they make a lot of mistakes. Well, there's one superhero or one person who's a mutant who can shrink down really small, and there's one episode where he runs up somebody's urethra and then he grows and they show it all. It was bad. Anyway, didn't need that visual probably, but
I wanted to say something when you said how they can get rid of these, where they have to slice you open. It instantly I thought of as a kid when you have a barbecue at home and you have hot dogs and your mom would always slice it in half and then kind of that instantly. Or you overcook it, Anyway, I just got that visual.
That's a terrible visual.
I don't think I'll ever eat a hot dog that's been split in half again.
Yeah.
Just showed me a text. She was over there. She heard me talking about that, and she just said that movie's called The Rundown.
The Rundown.
With The Rock.
Yeah, with the fish coming up and yeah, it might be with The Rock in it. Yeah. And it attaches to.
Yeah. So the key here, everybody, is if you're going to go anywhere near the Amazon, don't pee in the water. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even go in it.
I'm terrified of. I don't even want to go in a pool anymore.
I know.
Well,
No, it's crazy.
because in the movie The Bay, actually, too, is the water. How most people got infected is the water from the bay was used for drinking water and to fill in the pools. So that's how people were getting infected left and right. It became pool water and drinking water. So they were just like, no matter what you did, you were done. You were toast.
Yeah.
You got to watch this movie. Ron, if you watch it, you reach out to Tony on what your opinion was on it, and Tony will let me know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, anybody out there listening, if you've seen The Bay, what was your thought on it? Leave a comment. I'm curious to find out what other people thought too, because I personally I think I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen the movie, and I like horror movies. And so when you told me, Bill, and I watched it just last night, I was like, whoa, like it was definitely freaky, definitely a freaky one. So, all right, let's get into one more round of Hollywood craziness. Like, what's something else that you guys have run across that was Hollywood that really made you think, okay, you know, this is crazy to me. I'll start off. This one, it's not quite as nasty or anything like that, but I just liked the movie so much. So there was a wrestler, world WWE wrestler back in the 80s. His name was Rowdy Piper. Does anybody remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he did a movie. I don't know that he did too many, but he did a movie called They Live. And do you guys remember that movie? Where like he somehow ran across a pair of glasses and he put them on and he could see all the aliens. But when he took the glasses off, they looked like people. So that whole movie was just very interesting. So it's not a parasite thing, but it's more along the lines of it's not what it appears to be, right? And so many times when you have a parasite, you think, oh, you know, I'm not even seeing this thing. It's too small or it's in my bloodstream, but yet something's going on inside of you. And I think that's crazy. So They Live is one of them. And I'll just mention another one, which was Prometheus. Prometheus is also the precursor to some of the alien movies. And so if you look at Prometheus, they have these beings called the architects or the engineers. And they came to planets and they would seed planets with DNA to help spawn local life in that planet. And there's one scene in the beginning of the one movie where this being winds up eating this material. It's like a black ooze, and it breaks himself down. It goes inside of his body, and it breaks him down to a cellular ooze, and he jumps or falls into the water, and it just starts to move his DNA all over the place. Anyway, Prometheus and They Live. They're the two movies I came up with in this second part. And they were cool. They were different and a little strange.
Did they do a remake of Prometheus? Because I've seen a newer one about
they've done
15 years
something
ago.
more recent. Yeah, where they also included the engineers into that. I think they actually got into a battle with. No, that's wrong. I'm thinking Aliens and Predators. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Go ahead, Ron. Tell us about a film that you can think of as well.
Well, I remember it's been so long. I remember a movie, The Faculty, was one of them, about the teachers. You know, they're all infected with this alien virus or whatever, and then some of the students started noticing, and it was kind of like a comedy, kind of at the same time. It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I couldn't tell you one person that was in it. I haven't, how many years ago did that movie come out? But one that terrified me, and it's not when I was about 12 years old, and it wasn't a real parasite. It was The Exorcist. Now, the ultimate parasite, the ultimate parasite, one you can't get rid of by going to the doctor, and it just destroys the person that you love, and you just feel helpless. That right there to me, in that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, you talked about earlier, going from host to host. Have you ever seen that movie with Denzel Washington?
Trying to think, The Fallen.
Yeah,
Fallen,
fallen.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It just went from host to it would just have to go and touch somebody and would go from
Uh,
right person to the next person. And yeah, so that's a form of parasite. I think more terrifying than even a real parasite.
yes, I agree. Because that you're completely helpless. It's not like you can stay away. It's something that just interacts, touches you, or gets by you.
Controls you, changes you and controls you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which I'm going to mention this too because I think it's important. It's not one that I had, but one of the things when I was looking up at parasites, it was the infection or the sickness that a person gets when they have rabies. And everybody nobody wants to have rabies, and anytime you're bitten, you want to get treated for that pretty quick. But one of the things I thought that was interesting as I looked into rabies a little bit, they call that a mind altering parasite, an infection. It actually changes your mind, like you don't have control anymore. And I thought that's terrifying, along with some of the other things that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bill, you're up. What was the other one that you had?
You know what? I really don't have a second one because I couldn't decide which one to do. But there was a couple that I was interested in, like District 9 about alien, spaceships that I think was over South Africa.
Yeah.
That somehow or another, I saw this movie a while ago and I just don't remember it. I was going to follow up on it, but I just got too involved in the other movie. And then,
Yeah.
But it was to where different hosts went from person to person. But it was interesting because it was like more sci-fi than what's realistic in today's world, like
Yeah.
something that comes from cooking food wrong or whatnot. And then like the Search for Spock, or which one was it? Klein,
Rathacon.
Rathacon.
Yeah.
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 You
Interesting.
know, Tony, I can't believe nobody brought up, including myself, a vampire movie.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there you go, right there.
Yeah, all the vampire movies.
Well, if you're going to go there, why not a zombie movie? Would that be?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we could keep going in that direction too. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's spin back around to just some of the real things that are out there for people. Let's talk about Ron. Why don't you tell us about the other one that you had, the natural parasite?
Okay, well, you're probably going to lose sleep over this one. The guinea worm. Have you ever heard of the guinea worm?
Yuck, yuck.
Yeah. You get this by drinking well or pond water contaminated with water fleas. They call them cyclops.
Mm,
That are infected with mature third stage worm larvae. And then it goes in stages. Then it goes to stage 2 is gastric juices in the human stomach digest the water flea. And the worm larvae are released and moved to the abdominal tissue where they grow and mate. Then they mate inside you.
man.
Yeah.
Now you're an incubator.
Yes.
No.
And then stage 3 is if you want to bear with me, I'll go through these stages real quick.
Yeah, please do.
Stage 3 is the fertilized female worms migrate to various body regions, usually the lower limbs. Males die soon after mating. It's funny how that always seems to work out in the insect world. Stage 4, I'm going a year. We kind of die too. No, anyway, a year after infection, the worm begins to emerge through the skin at the site of a painful blister.
Mm,
And then 5, on contact with water, the emerging worm releases immature first stage larvae into the water source, often a pond or shallow well. A free living larva survives only 3 days unless it finds a host. So this is a cycle, it looks like.
yeah.
Stage 6, there's one more after this. Water flea consumes worm larvae, which resists digestion. And then 7 and 2 weeks, the larvae undergo 2 molts within the water flea to become third stage larvae, which can infect humans. So there's stage after stage.
Yeah.
And so we drink stagnant water. Never drink stagnant water. Third world
Never.
countries have no choice a lot of times to drink stagnant water.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because my one of my boys went and lived in Ghana for a couple years when he was in his 20s, and just it was very unsanitary there. Lots of everything we've been talking about, and he had to boil water. He had to do a lot of things like that. Just or buy water. Like they wouldn't drink anything there that wasn't packaged or heated up. And he's had stomach issues ever since, and he's gone in and been checked for stuff, and it kind of messed him up a little bit with that. So, yeah, sanitation, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it says if they're dangerous, it's not usually fatal, but extremely painful and debilitating. There's some photos here that I wish I could. They literally, it causes burning blisters as the worm emerges from the skin, leading to secondary infections and disability for weeks and even months. So this breaks through the skin. So what's the cure? No medications kill the worm inside. Treatment involves slowly winding the worm out on a stick. You got to make sure you don't break it. So you literally pull it out, wind it around a stick, and slowly manage to pull it out.
Miserable.
It is miserable.
For thousands of years, the guinea worm parasite has caused disabling misery. Its victims infected by drinking water contaminated with guinea worm larvae. After a year, the adult worm, up to 3 feet long, emerges from the body through agonizing skin blisters that incapacitate and cripple. There is no cure for this, and the only treatment is wrapping the worm around a stick and pulling it out inch by inch every day for weeks.
And Alien is one of the movies that was inspired by this kind of thing. The Fly was another one. We didn't even think about The Fly.
I wish I thought about that one. That was a good movie.
That's right.
Great movie.
That was. Jeez. Yeah.
So when I think Parasite before we started talking was these little nasty maggot-looking things, but they're not. It could be what we're talking about, like The Fly, aliens, vampire, zombie. So it really opened the door for me to be more educated on what realms of possibility there are of a parasite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I'm afraid to go out now. I don't want to go nowhere. I just want to sit in my chair and do nothing.
We got the fresh air bugs. You got to watch out for them.
That's right.
Yeah, well.
Oh, man. Crazy. Ron, anything else about that one? That was bad enough.
It says that the real footage of some of these is even more horrifying than what they depict, in some of these movies.
Yeah.
I mean, watching something in a movie, you can go home and kind of just, ooh, that was disgusting. But you can imagine having one of these. I mean, that could traumatize you for the rest of your life.
Forever. Yeah. And this is primarily in third world countries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
But while you guys were talking, I looked something up. So when it's my turn, I'm going to read you something that I found.
Yeah. Yeah. Ron, did you have anything else on that one?
No, that's all I got. The Fly, The Fly, I think was a fascinating movie. To be changed, to be metamorphosed into something else because something joined in with your DNA and fused, and then it took over and changed you and totally robbed you of your humanity and just changed you into this other thing. That would be horrible and horrifying.
You're watching it happen, you can't stop it. Yeah.
And what if it's something somebody? And what if it was a loved one? Would you be able to put them out of their misery?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
something to be thinking about for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
No.
All right, Bill, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you were looking at, and then get into yours after that.
Yeah. So I was just curious to what recent outbreaks might be of a parasite, and there's a new one out, and I just picked this up. It's called a my reading's bad. It's called a screwworm, SCREW worm, right? And this is a recent outbreak here in the United States, in Texas. And the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, and the CDC are actively tracking a recent outbreak of a new world steakworm in the United States, a flesh-eating parasite which targets livestock, pets, and wildlife, was discovered in Texas after spreading northward from Central America and Mexico. So it says, and people are interested in finding out where recent outbreaks are. You can always visit the website, CDC and the USDA websites, and they'll kind of give you information on how to avoid them in foods and stuff like that. So if we're going to talk about that, let's talk about where people can look up how to properly cook foods, and that would be the USDA website, for those who don't know temperatures or whatnot. And then the CDC, they're constantly updating their websites on current or possibly new outbreaks of parasites in the United States and around the world.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a fly.
I think trying to be alerted to that stuff, especially in food, I mean, if they're affecting cattle and stuff like that, very dangerous.
My in-laws, before they passed, they owned a ranch out here in Utah. So, and, I'm sure if they were here today, I could ask them questions and they would have hundreds of answers, because they had to follow rules and regulations, how to feed, what not to feed, how to raise, like we were talking earlier. Sometimes the red meat is, sometimes we get red meat and like, man, that was just not a good piece of meat.
Yeah.
Or, man, that was a good piece of meat. And people think it might be because it was from a bad part of the animal, which is true sometimes. But a lot of times it has to do with how they're raised.
Yeah. Well, and I do know that we're talking cattle here, that sometimes they get infected and they have to be put down. Now that's got to be difficult, because that's pretty expensive for ranchers, especially if it spreads amongst their herd. That's crazy. So, but you want them to put them down, right? You don't want that to be used. And so there's that thing where we're trusting that they do the right thing and make sure that that's not meat that gets used.
Right.
But we don't know if that's true outside of the United States sometimes. I mean, who knows what people...
I'm sure the guidelines are a lot less strict. Like I'm really big into the Yellowstone, the 1820, the 1923, and there's a new one called Dalton Ranch.
Yeah,
Not familiar with that.
They just talked about this thing you're talking about. They had to kill a whole herd for this. Yeah.
They had to kill their whole, and it was sad because they just bought that ranch. The bull was sick, and it infected the whole herd. Yeah. And they had in the TV show Dalton Ranch. It's awesome. I encourage people to watch it. I think it's on ABC, and it was sad because they had to kill them all.
Yeah.
And then it's really a good movie. But that's how fast it spreads. I mean, they just got one bad animal.
Yeah,
exactly. And it just spread it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Hollywood version of that concept that you were just talking about right there, right on TV right now that people could see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's why the United States has such high standards in our farming industry. People don't realize, I know because I experienced with it with my in-laws.
Yeah.
People kind of might take farming for granted, especially ranchers, like wheat, corn, and everything like that. Sure, it might be easy, but ranchers, the guys who get out there and get the beef and all that, you think it's easy. It ain't.
Yeah.
It's not.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Ron, were you going to say something?
Well, this whole, cow, disease epidemic, it just kind of made me think of like mad cow disease.
Right.
And I just wonder how many of our population may have eaten some of that beef because we have a serious outbreak of mad people disease. Our society has just lost their minds. So
Right.
I just was that's just me being stupid, but um,
But in a
it could be
joking way, it
effective.
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It makes you wonder if we have mad people disease going on right now,
Yeah.
thanks to the. No, you have to put them down. You have to put them down because you can't risk, it getting in and affecting a generation of people.
Yeah.
And that would take quite a, depending what the ramifications would be to the people that would get infected. I mean, how easily would it be to treat, or could it cause birth defects? Lifelong problems for people. Maybe even who knows what? Not be able to reproduce,
Yeah.
or better not reproduce.
Well, and
Uh,
I think that mad cow disease, if I remember correctly, it creates neurological problems for people. So it's really bad, right? Because once the brain goes, it's one thing for some of your other body parts, but if the brain gets impacted,
yeah,
you're done. Yeah, you're
yeah.
done.
That's where I came. That I was just trying to be funny, maybe lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah,
No, you're good. You're good.
yeah.
Okay.
Got to have fun with some of this because
Yeah,
it's
it's pretty
crazy
heavy.
enough that you don't want to be depressed by it. You know what I mean? For sure.
The screwworm is a fly.
What's that?
The screwworm. It's a fly. It's a fly larva, right?
Yeah,
No, is that what it was, Bill?
I believe so. Yeah,
That's crazy.
but they transfer it to in mosquitoes too.
So it's something inside those. Yeah,
Yeah,
the carrier.
but anyway, I also
Go ahead,
had
Bill.
I also had the eye worm.
Yeah.
That one just sounds painful.
Now look right. Look a little bit more to the side and less up. That's good. Blink a few times.
This case involves a young man who had spent some time in West Africa approximately 2 years ago. And he came into our office today reporting that he saw a worm in his eye. And in fact, that's what we saw.
Yeah.
So,
It's nasty looking too.
Yeah, an eye worm. It flies from tropical area. It forms in tropical areas. It feeds on tears and deposits, and lays eggs directly into the eye, the white part of your eye. Okay, mainly again, mainly West and Central Africa. Now, I just don't understand why it seems like it's all in Africa. I mean, maybe because the regulations there are, or maybe back in the government is just,
It's poverty. It's
You know?
it's sanitation. The level of sanitation in some parts of those countries, we can't even relate to it. We don't even understand.
well, that's the good thing about I know what most of all our meat in the United States is made here in the U.S. But I would love to know where my meat's coming from, and I think that should be a law in the future. If God forbid something were really bad happen, like if I go to somewhere to a steakhouse or restaurant, they should put on there the steak, whatever, or ham, whatever. Where's it from? Put it on the menu. Where's it from?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that should be on packaging. People, if anybody knows, please leave a comment because maybe it is, if you know where to look for it in the packaging in your local store, maybe they are including that. Because you're right. Like, nobody wants to be buying meat that's been brought in from somewhere else.
Right. I wouldn't mind knowing. Now I know what I know. I wouldn't mind looking at a steak and being like, oh, yeah, okay, nice ribeye, but it's from, oh, never mind. I'll take nachos, or something. I wouldn't mind knowing that now. Before I didn't care.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I get a lot of meat from my farm, and I trust it, because I know my brother-in-laws.
Right.
I know how they raise it, but I wouldn't mind knowing that. Okay, and then
Before you move on, though, I saw Ron's wheels turning. Did you want to say something about this?
Tony knows me too well, too. We've done this too many times. No, I've read that, and I haven't seen it, but they have engineered meat that isn't even from a biological animal, and I don't know how that's coming about. Look it up. You have to watch what you're when you go to meat, and I haven't seen it yet, but you're to buy at a grocery store, and I don't know if there's any in the major grocery stores yet, but apparently there's engineered meat that doesn't even come from an animal.
I've heard
Like
that.
clone?
I don't even know if it's
Yeah.
cloned into it, but it's engineered somehow, and it looks like meat, it tastes like meat, but it's not made from an animal.
I'll pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't knowingly eat that.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're right. I've heard something about that and meant to look more into it, but I forgot. So that's
Yeah,
a
me too.
good thing to look at. Yeah.
No. All right, so back on the tapeworm, on the eye worm. Okay, it causes movement. How do you know you have it? It causes movement in the eye, and the eye could swell. And other places in the body. Signs are, this is kind of really weird because the signs are pretty common with other maybe eye conditions, like redness in the eye, feeling something moving around in your eye. I mean, I've never felt that, but I've had redness in the eye. The swelling around the eyelids, blur vision. I mean, I'm getting all this just by getting older. You know, here I am, my readers, you know. Blur vision, sensitivity to light, watery eyes, prevention. Wash your hands after touching pets and soil. Make sure the meat is cooked well. Again, we go back to that. You want to know what temperatures you cook, go to USDA. Wear long sleeve shirts and pants. You know, when you're out in areas of, you know, where the stuff is common, and wear repellent. And the treatment is, you know, obviously see your doctor, and they have to use forceps to remove them.
I did see that. Yeah,
Now,
I saw a surgery for that one time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then eye drops and pills to kill the larvae.
In fact, that's what we saw. So we took this patient to the operating room, and the worm had already migrated from one side of his eye, the outer side of his eye, toward the inner side of his eye in a period of about an hour. We find the worm and we try and remove it in one piece, but inadvertently we cut the worm, and we end up removing it in several pieces. This is piece number 1 of 3. Here's fragment number 2 of 3. And then 3 of 3. This is the largest fragment and the most impressive one, because you can see how mobile the worm is once we remove it. So now the entire worm has been removed, and we place it into a cup of saline.
But, you know, forceps to get rid of it, that just...
Doesn't sound fun. Not to your eyeball.
Not to your eyeball. You know, I mean, we're pretty lucky to live where we live. You know, I mean, we got our problems, but we're pretty lucky to live where we live, because people complain all the time about regulations, right? No one likes to be told what to do by our government. I think it should be real. We don't, right? No one does. But if you look at 99% of the stuff that the guidelines the government tries to force upon us, they really are to protect us and to keep us safe and healthy. You know, I mean, they could just be like, do what you want, and then you can imagine just if we didn't care, we just did it like Africa did or other third world countries. It'd be horrible.
Words at the tip of your mouth, Ron?
No, I am grateful that I was born and raised in with probably the greatest country that the modern world has ever known, as far as our freedoms and ability to succeed and to free enterprise and healthcare, and you know, and I feel for the people around the world that don't have that. It's a shame that everywhere around the world doesn't. It should be. But it's just not a reality. It's just too bad.
Agreed.
You now I can understand why too. Like I watched a show called I forget what it's called, man. But they talk. It's about smuggling items into the United States from third world countries. Some of it's drugs or some of it's fruit. A lot of it's fruit. And I kind of get why. Before I'm like, why can't you bring like, fruit from Ecuador or somewhere into the United States? Well, now I get it. Because it's some stuff is dangerous to bring in.
Yeah.
It's a crime to actually bring stuff into the country.
Definitely meats.
Definitely meats.
Yeah. Yeah. The last one that I wanted to talk about, which I think, regardless of what sanitation, what regulation, this one's terrifying. It's terrifying to families. And if you have any young kids and you get into the situation I'm going to describe, you're going to be freaked out by it, because I thought to myself, boy, if I knew this about this parasite years ago, I would have been a little bit different about where I took my family. But there's something called the Naegleria fowleri. It's a brain-eating amoeba. And so this is it's commonly found in the southern states in the United States. And it is mostly in warm area, but it's found in lakes and ponds and stuff like that. It's in the sediment, in the dirt, and, the mud at the bottom. And if you stir it up, which people do, right, when you're messing around in lakes and swimming and goofing around with friends, this amoeba can come up and then be into the water. And what happens is you breathe it into your nose. And who hasn't been in a lake and swallowed water or breathed water up their nose? Everybody has. This happens like that, and you get the amoeba to go up your nose, and then it infects your brain, and it is deadly. It's lethal. In fact, 97% of the people that get infected die within 5 days. That is terrifying. And how would you even know? I think, fortunately, it isn't super prevalent. I think since 2005 to 2014, there's only been 35 cases here in the United States. So fortunately, it doesn't happen a whole lot. But the problem is, if you have it, you're just not going to live. There's a story that I read about this young lady. She was, I think she was 12 years old, and she had this happen just playing around in a lake, and it ruined her. She did live, but it was touch and go for a period of time, and she's still trying to recover. The cognitive and mental destruction that it caused to her brain, she's still trying to learn how to do a number of things. Now, could you imagine that one of your babies, one of your kids, one of your grandkids, they are playing in a lake and this happens, and if you're able to pick it up quick enough to get them to the hospital within 2 days, they might live. This is terrifying, man.
Stuff every day when you go home, right? No.
12-year-old Kaylee Hardig standing, smiling, and this morning for the first time, speaking about her dramatic brush with death.
I was so sick. Mama wouldn't leave the hospital at all. Mama was scared to leave me. She told me.
9 weeks ago, young Kaylee contracted a killer brain-eating infection at an Arkansas water park. There have only been 128 known infections like hers in the U.S. over the past 50 years, and miraculously, Kaylee is just the third person to survive.
I can tell I've gotten better.
And even more miraculous, today she's going home.
Now I'm ready to go home too.
What are your thoughts going to be when you get home?
Play with Chloe, my dog, Chloe. I have a little Yorkie. She's about 1. And I'm going to play with her and lay on her bed.
Kaylee has undergone intensive therapy.
3 more. You can do it.
And takes special medication flown in from Germany. But doctors say it was the speed with which her mother brought her to the hospital after being infected that made all the difference.
Like, what do you do with that? I don't know about you guys, but literally, if I knew this when my kids were younger, we only go to pools. I would be like, we are not going to lakes in southern states, because I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Like how completely helpless we are to stop something like that.
Well, I won't go to a lake either. I haven't been in the ocean. I mean, remember when we were kids? I remember all the times we went down Wildwood. You don't ever remember me going to the ocean. If I did, it was only up to maybe to my knee, and that was it. But we went to the lake in Medford or Ocean City or whatever. You guys went. I never went in the lake. You know, I was terrified, not because I didn't know parasites, but I stepped on jellyfish when I was a kid. You know, and I was like, I'm never going in the body of water again. So pools is my thing. But now, like if I were to go to a city pool or something like that, now when I move to St. George, whatnot, and I get a pool, I'm going to hire a professional because I want to make sure that it's clean, it's got chlorine in it, everything gets proper to kill anything that getting bacteria in a pool could be very easily done.
Yeah.
And that's why I appreciate the regulations. I respect them more now. I just,
it's very good.
It's really scary. I mean, if I were ever get something like that, I just hope I would get one that would be like, you're dead within minutes. Like in this movie, The Bay, you die pretty quick in the movie. I just wouldn't want to be painful. I wouldn't want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Agreed. Any thoughts on this craziness, Ron?
Well, I mean, me and my wife like to go to we go to the Half Moon Bay. We like to go walk on the hotels right there on the beach. We like to go walk on the beach. Luckily, it's in California, so I think we might be spared the possibility of running into and we just walk and sit, read, whatever, sunbathe. I'm like Bill. I'm not getting in the ocean. I saw Jaws in the theater, and that cured me of ever swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
I didn't have to step on a jellyfish. I just had to watch Jaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't imagine. I mean, this girl that survived, how many years has it been? Do you say? I mean,
I think she's now like 14, and she is
only a couple of years
coming back, but you still see there's slowness. There's still, she's still working on it.
And she may not fully recover.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Let me throw one more thing, which when I was looking at this particular parasite, I did run across a story that does not seem like it should happen, but there was a situation where this amoeba was somehow carried over or came out of a drain for a water, what do they call those things where the kids run around at a park and there's like water that shoots up?
A water park?
Not a water park, but it's like... we have it here in Utah everywhere. We're like,
is it the one at that Milk Creek or the City Creek that comes out of the ground?
It's like, it just comes. There's water shooting out of the ground. Kids run around, but it's not a pool or anything. I forget what they're called now. But
think of waterfalls or something, up falls or something.
Water spouts or something like that.
But a kid, a 3-year-old, caught it from that.
Whoa! And
the child died. What? That's not a lake. That's not sediment. I don't know, man.
Where's that water coming from?
Right. Maybe the drain or something backed up. I don't know. That is terrifying. So,
yes.
I think the biggest thing, if people are going to be kids, grandkids themselves, playing around in some of these lakes or some of these areas, if a kid is acting like something's not right, man, do not mess with it, because especially something like this, you only have a few days and then it's over. So
yeah, I just want to say something too before you end. Like, when I'm saying, I'm afraid to go out, I won't go out, I'm going to sit in my chair and everything like that. Yeah. I mean, that's to a point somewhat. I'm going to, I don't do the things I used to do. I don't want our listeners to be, don't be afraid to go out to restaurants. Don't be afraid to go to the lake. Don't be afraid to go to the pool. Yes. If you do, and if parasites is on your mind, just do your homework. Just look up, whatever lake you're going to, type in that lake and see if there's any recent reports on it. See if they're up to code, or a pool, the city pool. Find out if they're up to code, because all that's documented. If people are into like, Joe Smith USA pool in Vermont or whatever, and that's where you're going. Do some research. See if they're up to code. See if there's any history of people being in that pool being sick. Same thing with on meat. If you want to cook meat, just research temperatures on USDA, and just don't stop living. Is what I'm saying. Just do a little bit of research, because if you do that, then that's not good either. Don't stop eating. Don't stop going out. Don't stop having fun. Just use a little bit more caution. Do a little bit of research, and then go out. It takes a few minutes.
Yeah, agreed.
Great message. Yeah, don't be paralyzed by fear. I refuse to live that way. I mean, a lot of people are afraid to go where there's going to be people because they're afraid of terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
Mass shootings, and now we got this. Thanks a lot, Tony. Um, you know, so no, I love the message that Bill just said. I just wanted to say I double down on that. Don't live in fear. Don't be paralyzed by what ifs. Just do your homework, like you said. If you're going somewhere, just kind of do a little research before you go on vacation. Hey, what are the do's and don'ts? Is there anything you can spray, spray you can do to possibly deter mosquito bites and who knows what else, ticks, and
Yeah.
just be prepared. Don't
Yeah.
be frozen in fear to where you can't even live a normal
Yeah.
life. And you see people that happened to. People still paralyzed by the COVID pandemic,
Right.
still wearing masks, and to this day, just afraid to breathe in the open air. So
Right.
I feel for those people, and I
Yeah.
understand. I understand it. I'm not built that way, but yeah, great message, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got cuts or something like that, just cover them up. If you got kids or grandkids and they come out of a pool or a lake, just give them a pat down. Make sure, okay,
Yeah.
don't don't live in fear. Like
And if you do get sick, like Tony was saying, you do take them to the hospital, give the emergency room doctors, whoever, as much information as you possibly can, because a lot of times they'll just send you home with some medicine, thinking that it's just something simple. Give them all the information, so maybe it will say, well, we need to look a little further, and even demand it
Yeah.
if you have to.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, when these things are reported to medical personnel, I mean, they're hearing things, but there's more to the story often that we don't think is relevant, but that's maybe not true. So, absolutely. And for everybody else out there, don't underestimate things. I mean, nobody wants to just keep running to the doctors every day and stuff, but your body. Like if something's not right, don't put it off, because there is enough stuff going on out there that really you can't come back from, or you don't fully come back from it. So it's crazy. So will there be more things in the future? Yeah, we talked about COVID. There's all kinds of things that have happened. Lyme's disease. There's things, and they're going to continue to be things, whether they're medically or maybe it's something that happens that is in some lab, right? That somebody's working on. We don't know what's going to happen. So be careful with all that. Now, for you guys, real quick, before we wrap up, what freaked you out the most about this, or anything else you might have looked at that maybe we didn't talk about? Is there anything that was really just stood out for you?
Ron?
All of it. I think it's all terrifying. The possibilities of getting any one of these things, I'll pass. Yeah, but if I had to pick one, I'm looking at it right now. Um, the guinea worm for me.
Yeah.
It's too much work for me to have to wrap a stick around it and slowly pull it out.
Yeah. And it's not, and it's painful too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, thank you. I think I would rather want to go slowly insane, not realizing I'm sick, than to be debilitated by something
Right.
that's coming out of my body, and I have to find a way to pull it out and hope I don't break it off.
For sure. Bill, anything for you?
I take away from this, like, how many ways and how many possibilities there are of hopefully never encountering this situation, but it's just not one or two. I mean, it could be unlimited.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, if you tell me you ain't never peed in a pool or a lake, you're lying. Okay? You know, so make little stuff. You know, it just, how fast certain parasites can spread like wildfire. You know, and it, like I said in that movie, I mean, it took a whole town out in a day. You know, it could be, yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to know, are there any parasites do parasites, I don't know, I have to look it up, but maybe me and you could talk off air, if that would, like, that could be a positive to the human body. Not kill you or make it come out of your eye or your butthole or whatever, but that could, you know what I mean? Like,
zero.
Huh?
Ground
zero, yeah. Or is there something like that can help cure you of a disease or something like that?
Yeah. I think the only thing I would say is there's 32 to 38 trillion in us, and they're probably doing some good. At least most of them are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to overcome it. So probably that is the biggest thing. But yeah, it's crazy.
We have good bacteria and bad bacteria in our bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. But you make a good point, guys. Anybody out there, do you know of a strange parasite that we maybe would be interested in hearing about? Put it in the comments. Maybe you know somebody who's gone through something, or you've heard a story. Put it in the comments. That's what this is about. Let's share. Let's hear some of the things that are out there, because guess what? The more I look into stuff like this, I always find something that I go, what? Are you kidding? That happened? It's just the way it is. We live in a freaky and a crazy world. So leave your comment. Tell us all about it. All right, everybody. Thanks, guys, for being with me today. And for everybody out there, parasites, they're all around us, and it's just part of the game. Hi, we need your help to get bigger and better. How? Just like, comment, and subscribe. It's free, and it just takes a few seconds. Now, thank you, and remember, there's a lot of strange and unexpected in our reality, so always keep your eyes, ears, and minds open, and stay safe. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to High Strangeness. This was a glance at some of the strange that exists in our reality.